The black dot equipment we just saw casting its reflection upon the water is capable of producing an enormous circular glare, thousands of miles in diameter. Here from the Scammon Bay, Alaska weather camera. Welcome to the final days. Today is April 15th, 2019. Today we will be viewing a gigantic planet or celestial object that takes up 25% of the sky. We will also see an enormous contraption in the sky being towed around by a craft. Also a red planet very close and full of craters, and other sky and space anomalies never mentioned in mainstream news. The purpose of this channel is to show the viewers that we are living in the very last days according to the Holy Bible, and to explain why this is actually good news and cause for celebration, explained later in this video. All of the photos you are about to see were obtained within days from the Federal Aviation weather cameras in Alaska. No editing was done except where obvious contrast is applied to bring out the details. Many of you have already seen the black dot equipment that tracks in perfect synchronization with the sun, shown here. It casts a reflection upon the water, proving that it's a piece of equipment and not a camera lighting problem. NASA put this equipment into place a few years ago. In order for the viewers to understand what we will be looking at, I need to refresh your memory. The black dot equipment we just saw casting its reflection upon the water is capable of producing an enormous circular glare, thousands of miles in diameter, such as viewed here from the Scammon Bay, Alaska weather camera. Additionally, I need you to recall that when objects that have come into our solar system pass in front of our sun, such as this dark nebula, NASA's circular glare passes in front of the object, while our real sun goes behind it. We know the sun is behind this dark nebula because shortly after the sun rises on the left, it appears to suddenly shrink to 1/5 its size. The landscape and sky suddenly darken as the real sun goes behind this dark nebula, and NASA's much weaker circular glare passes in front of this object. The most important thing to remember here is that NASA's manufactured light does light up what's behind it. We couldn't see this nebula until NASA's circular glare passed over it, lighting it up. For the next footage we are going to watch, it is important for you to know that NASA's light does light up what's behind it as well as what's in front of it. Since our solar system never had a nebula in the past, this tells us that the nebula we are viewing was brought in by the planetary system that is now within our solar system. The close proximity of this planetary system will cause upheaval to our planet during the time of the biblically foretold Great Tribulation, which is very close. This footage from the southwest-facing camera in Red Dog, Alaska, shows a red, heavily cratered object behind NASA's manufactured light as it travels across the sky in synchronization with our sun. Thus, our sun is behind this crater-pocked object, and NASA's light is in front of it. Unfortunately, I was only able to obtain these few images of this object, but these images show some detail that I have not seen before in these FAA weather cameras. I applied some contrast to some of these images to bring out the detail better, but in the raw footage, it is very clear to see that NASA's light is passing over something very large, very red, and full of craters. The fact that we can see such detail means that this object is close. Jesus is describing the last days in Luke chapter 21, verse 25, when he says that we will see signs in the sky. As Christians, we are commanded to watch for these signs and wonders, signaling the end of the age, so that we are not ignorant of the very late hour in which we are living, and so that we can be spiritually prepared for what lies ahead, and also help others to become spiritually prepared. The south-facing weather camera in Kiana, Alaska, shows a moon which is part of the planetary system that brought the nebula into our solar system. This moon has a very red cast to it, which comes out in the close-ups where some contrast was used. We saw this same thing happen last year from the west-facing camera in Kotzebue, Alaska. Look at the reflection on the metallic roof and notice the direction it's heading on the morning of April 11th. The fact that it took 2.5 hours for the reflection to pass over the roof tells us that this cannot be an aircraft, but instead something much farther away and something very bright. The reflection is going from the right to the left. 5 hours later, our sun's reflection travels in the complete opposite direction, from left to right. The first reflection we saw is traveling twice the speed of our sun, which means it is closer. Untold trillions have been spent to hide this inbound planetary system from the unknowing masses. The technology for this deceptive system likely arrived with the assistance of the fallen angels, the demonic realm, since they've been here much longer than we have and they are smarter than we are. The enemies of Christ do not want you to know how close to the end we are. They do not want you to turn your life over to Christ while you still have time. Information is at the end of this video instructing you on how to accept Christ into your life. The south-facing camera in Arctic Village, Alaska, captured some very interesting cloaked equipment that is only visible directly underneath NASA's circular glare. I've added contrast and also traced around this object to give viewers a general idea of its shape.